Well, here we are. It is Friday, August 4th, 2023, and this is the weekly video. We're going to take a look at some things today that happened last week in the auction market and a few things that didn't happen in the auction market last week that might be an opportunity if you're a collector. There's something I want to go over sort of at the beginning, something I haven't mentioned in quite a while, and maybe it's been forgotten by some of you folks. And it's a great way to add on to your collection and sometimes get a very, very good price. All right, so we're going to start with that first over here. And this has made me think of it. I was looking at the auctions, the auction that took place a few weeks ago on the 24th at Leonard Joel's sale down in Australia. And I noticed he had a lot of past lots. Why, I don't know. Who knows? They were mostly Japanese. And always remember that after a sale is over at an auction house, very often you can go in and make offers on things that have not sold. And keep in mind that the Australian dollar right now is about 66 cents to the US dollar. So in this case, you had a very nice 17th century Arita jug that was estimated at 800 to 1,000 Australian dollars. That translates into roughly $470 to $600 as an estimate for in US currency. So there's a very good chance that an item like that could be bought from the auction house for at or below the low estimate, which means $300 or $400 perhaps. And it's a great way to buy things. Often auction houses take things in, they overestimate them for whatever reason, and then when the auction's over, now they're stuck with it and they want to get it moved so they can settle up with the seller. Often the seller is dealing with an estate or a collection. They have a time-sensitive issue, and they're often willing to say, yeah, just sell it, take the money. All right, so don't be hesitant to contact these auction houses. Give them the lot number. Tell them you're interested in one or two or three lots, whatever, that didn't sell, and make an offer. Make an offer, and you may be surprised. I bought a lot of wonderful things that way over the year, and I'll say that 90% of the time, the auction house will make a deal with you. 90% of the time. It's something that not many people do that haven't been in the business for a long time, or maybe they've been in the business a while and they've never tried it for whatever reason. Often it's just because the item was maybe overestimated, maybe they didn't have just not enough interest for whatever reason, and it is an opportunity. So always keep that in mind. If you see a past lot and it didn't sell, contact the auction house if you want it, and see if you can make a deal. The other thing I wanted to mention was that I've noticed that in the rug market lately, prices have been getting a little bit better, but they're still very inexpensive. And as many of you know, I love Persian rugs. I have a lot of them around my house: room size rugs, small rugs, scatter rugs, bag faces, all kinds of carpets. I enjoy them. I've been interested in them since the 1970s, and I still am. And I noticed this was a sale that took place at Material Culture this past week on the 31st of July, and they had this beautiful rug. This was a good size rug. This is a good size rug. Beautiful colors, made during the 19th century, wonderful yellows in it, and this was from the Caucasus region, and just an absolutely beautiful carpet. And Persian rugs and Chinese art and Asian art all meld together beautifully, just the way Middle Eastern art and Asian art works together well together. And this rug was 5 by 8 feet, and it ended up selling for $2,800, which is still below what they used to sell for. In the 1990s, a rug like this would have sold for probably $6,000 to $8,000. So you know, if you've thought about what to put on your floors, you've got beautiful objects around your house, look into carpets, look into rugs and hand woven, hand knotted, hand dyed carpets. And because right now you can still buy them fairly reasonably. And I think at some point the prices on them are, like a lot of other things, are starting to go up again because people are getting to their middle age era. The kids are through college. They've got a little extra spending money, and they're tired of living with, you know, the interiors of IKEA furniture and that kind of thing, and they want to have something nice. And things like this will eventually become much more expensive once again. They're very cyclical. But so always keep in mind rugs and carpets, beautiful carpets. All right, now this was a box that sold. It did very, very well. It was a beautiful China trade lacquer, gilt lacquer box that sold at John McGinnis's. When was this sale? This sale was on the 29th. Just a I don't know if I'd mentioned this before. I know it was on the global pages. This is one of the nicest China trade lacquer boxes of mid 19th century I'd seen in a long time because of the condition, and it did very well. It brought $1,700. All right, just a wonderful example. And then this sold just a few days ago in New Orleans Auction Gallery. It was on the global member pages. It was this spectacular platter, estimated at $1,000 to $1,500, and someone got a great buy. Someone got a really great buy. This plate was 18 inches wide, beautifully decorated. I can't get over it, how nice this platter was. And I think it went very, very reasonably, very, very reasonably. And then coming up on the global pages, this was added this week, Clar's Auctions in Oakland, is this relief worked sort of Kangxi style sensor with underglazed red trees in relief. And now I think do they have this listed, or they're not even dating it? Okay, good. It's done in the Kangxi style. It has a Kangxi mark on it. It's not Kangxi. It's probably 19th century, judging by the base and the way the mark is done and so forth. But it's this beautiful celadon underglaze to it. So it's got underglazed red, underglazed blue, and underglazed celadon. This is a very tough trick to pull off on a ceramic. It's possibly late 18th century, but it's absolutely beautiful example. Very rare color combination. If you're interested in technically, it's very sophisticated because it has this relief area coming off the body of the sensor. And if you buy sensors and you're interested in 18th century porcelain, ask yourself, when was the last time you saw relief work done in this manner in all these colors? And they did them in the Kangxi period. They did do them with underglaze, with celadon, blues and reds. And here's one later, probably 18th, I think maybe 18th century. The more I look at it, the more I like it. I think it's a very nice, interesting piece. And it's estimated $1,000 to $1,500, which I think it should blow through. But I think it'll probably bring $2,000 or $3,000. But it's a really interesting piece of porcelain with a Kangxi mark on it. All right. And then they also have this in the sale coming up. And the sale's in 7 days. This is a really unusual thing. It's a faux bois porcelain table. This is not bamboo. That's porcelain. All right. And then with a porcelain plaque done in grisaille. And this is a little stand. It's not a big thing. It's 5 or 6 inches long, but beautifully made. And as I said, it has all this faux bois work on it. It's probably Republic period, judging by the work. Yeah, it looks Republic to me anyway. Let's flip it over and see what it looks like. Okay. Oh yeah, there's the bottom of it. It has a Yongshen mark on it. It's not a Yongshen table, obviously, but like I said, probably done in the Republic period. But a wonderful looking table, wonderful, and very, very rare. Yeah, how big is it? How big is this thing? 3¼ by 5¼ and 1½ inches tall. So it's very small. It's a very delicate little table, but great combination of work with the faux bamboo porcelain work, and then the very elegant grisaille decorated landscape scene. Estimated at $1,000 to $1,500. Should get there pretty easily, I would think. We'll follow up with it. I'll let you know what it brings, but I'm going to mark that just so you can see what it brings. I like that a lot. I think that's a really interesting object. And then there's this. This is also Republic period, or late Qing, very, very late Qing. It's got the Hongshan mark on the bottom. Okay, so it's Republic period. Hongshan marked porcelains are very, 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 very rarely ever Hongshan. They produced almost no porcelain in this period. It was a very short period, like a year long, and the mark became very popular once the period was over. So generally speaking, if you see a Hongshan mark on something, you're pretty safe in assuming that it's probably going to be a Republic piece, or a very modern copy. This one doesn't. That's a Republic foot rim. It's the kind of foot rim you see on late Qing and Republic pieces, and nicely decorated. But the Hongshan mark tells you it can't be late Qing because the mark didn't exist in the late 19th century. This came after the Guangxu period. But there it is. It's beautifully decorated. Very nice colors. And these peach vases, they're, of course, were very prominent during the Qianlong period. And this is where the design came from, the Yongchen and Qianlong period, where they started doing these 3 peach vases. And this is a really nice one. It's much better than the average. So if you've ever wanted one of these and you're not ready to shell out one to 2 million for it, there's a chance for you here. It's estimated at $1,500 to $2,500. It starts in 6 days. The opening bid is $750. That should bring 2,500 to 3,500, but it may go for less because so far it doesn't have a bid on it. But and how did they date it? They dated it correctly. Hung Shang mark 20th century. They're not calling it period. They're just saying it has the mark. All right, but still, lovely piece of porcelain. And then there's this. This caught my eye. Is something really really nice. This was a late Qing, maybe early Republic period, Ming style. The dragon is very much in the Ming style, the way it's been drawn. That's a Ming dragon. Ming dragons are almost cartoonish looking at times, sort of goofy looking, and Qing dragons tend to be very powerful, very domineering, very fierce. Totally different style of decoration, but I love the way this one's drawn. It almost looks like an alligator with a long neck, and it's on a crackleware. Probably looks like it might be on a soft paste body. It has its original box. It's got a Chenoir mark. Of course, it isn't Chenoir, but there was a time in the late Qing and Republic period when they did these sort of interesting porcelain soft paste affairs, and they decorated them with enamels. They decorated them in underglazed blue most often, and there's a nice one right with its original box apparently, and obviously the box will tell you roughly how old it is, the way the container was made. It's estimated at $800 to $1,200. I think it should get there because these are sort of interesting collectible things. It's very nicely painted, and it's very representative of that period, and it's quite lovely. So don't be surprised I think $800 to $1,200 is a little ambitious for it, but it may get there. I had a soft paste vase of this type a few years ago. I think we sold it on eBay for about $1,200. So don't be surprised. It was a little fancier, but don't be surprised if this gets up there. There is a market for them, and this was a very very nice one. And then over to this. This is coming up also at Clar's. Is this Hung Wu Ming Dynasty plate with deer on it. Very, very nice. I think they've just dated it as Ming, but it sure looks like Hung Wu to me. There's the back of it. Very typical Hung Wu foot rim on the back. It's beautifully cleaned off, but it is an old dish. That's a nice old dish. And the estimate on it is very reasonable, $1,500 to $2,500 with deer. And it should bring that. It should bring that. It's already got a bid at $750, and I think it's probably going to go up. But it's a very nice example, and a particularly nice color blue. The blue on this is really quite lovely. It looks like it has some tape or something stuck to it over here. I'd ask what that is. Is that tape, or is that a little bit of damage, or whatever that is? There's a yellow area. It looks like tape residue. They don't always clean them the way they should at auction houses before they take the pictures, so that sometimes happens. But again, you have 6 days to get it done. Clar's out in California. All right. And the last thing I want to mention here is this is I want to get over to another auction house. We talked about some of the auction houses you should avoid. This is another one, Ancient Rhyme. And somebody emailed me about this. Why didn't I mention them while I was talking about staying away from this outfit? Let's see. This outfit here, Woolworth. I've gotten 2 inquiries this week about this bowl. They want to know if this is a Jiajing bowl. No, it's a fake of a Jiajing bowl. It's a total copy. It's very convincing looking until you flip it over and look at the bottom. And that's a brand new bottom. That's not an old base. That's a new bottom. And that is not an old foot rim. That's a new foot rim, 20th century, made within the last 10 or 15 years. And again, you see this yellowish tinge that's overcast on the white clay. This is a brand new bowl, and it's up to, what's it up to? It's up to $418. It closes today. It's probably going to spike and do a bit better. And I also had inquiries about this Ming-looking jar. And it's also supposed to be Jiajing mark and period. That's you see all this rust in business, and the rust in the bottom, these red dots. Whenever you see these red dots, run away, run away, run away. This is a fake, and this whole jar is a repro. It isn't worth $100, and it's up right now to $1,260. I told everybody that inquired about it, if you put in a bid, withdraw it. Woolworth is selling a lot of fakes. All right, but so is This guy, Ancient Rhyme. Every item on this page appears to be a reproduction, as far as I can tell. And notice the bids: $510, $61, $51. I mean, the people are catching on because this jar has 1 day, 6 hours left. It's only up to $2. So the audience is telling them that, stop putting fakes up. But then they have. If you see an auction that has a ton of pieces like this, but then you see one that looks pretty convincing to you, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. This vase is up to $510. It's brand new. This is a modern vase. There's no other way to say it. There's the bottom of it. It's got the Chai Ching mark on it. This is not an old vase. It's competently painted. It's very cleverly painted. It's just not old. It's just very, very well done. And this is the quality of stuff that they're doing today, that it looks so convincing to so many people. And it's understandable. I mean, this is, if you look at this and compare it to old work, the differences are quite slight, but there are differences, but it's slight. It's slight, and they're getting more and more difficult to detect. But when you see a piece like this coupled with all the other pieces up there, you should be able to figure out, just say to yourself, what is really going on here? What is the real deal here? Is this guy just, very generous, and he's got things that are from the Ming Dynasty that he's selling for $100 or $200, or are they reproductions? This is a reproduction, the sort of Guangzhou style dragon dish, the stem cups and Daosai enamels. All of these pieces are brand new. They have absolutely no age. The same goes for the bronzes. Bronzes are being produced and copied in huge numbers, and it's an ongoing thing, and it's going to keep going. All right, and these are, let's put it this way: if these pieces were all as they appear to be, this guy could just sell these all off at Christie's and never work again for the rest of his life. All right, that's what it amounts to. And here they are on eBay for $25. They're fakes. They're fakes. They're fakes. All right, done that. Okay. Now, there's that horrific vase again. Let's see what happened over on eBay last week. They had some pretty good results, and there's a couple of lots that sold have been relisted. I'm going to point them out to you. They didn't get paid for, and this is a problem on eBay. We've all talked about it. People will run up the price, get it up there, and then bail, and then force the seller to relist it, and hopefully to get a better deal the second time around. All right, that didn't happen with this, I don't think. But anyway, this was a very nice dragon badge that's been put into a really interesting bamboo sort of style frame. But it's a nice package. I thought it was very elegant, and I like the like little peacock feather embellishments on the ends, and then the rondelle with the old dragon in the middle. This is an early 19th or late 18th century dragon. Very nicely done. Beautiful quality work. Very nice tight gold thread work, nice old colors down here, and the way the waves are drawn and so forth. It's all beautifully done, and it's mounted on this very nice Chinese hardwood frame. There's the dragon again, the fierce. Now that's a Qing dragon, a sort of fierce look on his face, and you compare that to the sort of cartoony face you see on Ming dragons. It's quite striking, the difference. Anyway, this did quite well. It brought $1,967 US, or 1,550 in British pounds. And again, this is a load of silks here, these gold ground or apricot ground with gold thread, foo dogs with fluffy tails running around rocks and landscape with flowers and so forth. Sort of a nice thing. Shao character at the top. Ended up selling for $776, and he did provide some detail shots here and here. Along the edge to go with it, so you get a better look. $776. That was a nice thing. It's pretty. I love apricot silk. Apricot colored silk is so pretty. And then there was the big wall hanging. We looked at this, lots of gold thread, lots of brightly colored threads, metallic threads, precious objects, elephants with vases on their backs and all this. This is a pretty formal hanging. It's a late Qing, early Republic example, but peacocks and all kinds of colors on it. It's really pretty dazzling to look at. I thought this was great. You need the right wall for it, but boy, is that a good piece of work. And somebody paid $1,715 for it without the frame. That was smart of the seller to say that. They're going to take it out of the frame and roll it up and send it to you, because the cost of shipping it with that frame will be probably more than just buying a new simple frame for it and remounting it once it arrived. But very nice piece of silk, $1,715. And then over to this, the carving. How'd the big carving do? It did okay. Didn't bring a lot. Like I said, the carvings are a relative bargain on the market today. And I thought this was a really nice one. I really, really liked this. I thought it was a lot of bang for the buck. Very interesting, very fine carving work. Look at the work down here, how this thing was carved out. And there's the full thing. There's the full thing right there, and it's obviously the leg or the base off of something, but it is a sculptural object. I thought this was terrific, and it was very good size. It was I want to get it right, 47 centimeters tall, or about 18 inches tall. So it wasn't a small thing. It was pretty good size, and very reasonable shipping. According to this guy, from the UK to here, he could ship it to me for $31 US Royal Mail. I don't know how he'd do that, but it went for just $260. And I think that's a great thing for $260. There aren't many great looking Chinese things you can get for that price. And then over to this, the Catagon, with the purple aubergine ground on it and famille rose enamels, and the Femi-June base. There we are. Very nice Catagon. And as we talked about Catagons many times because they have a real hardcore collector base, because they made them in so many varieties. And they fill from the bottom here through the hole. You put the water in there, the tea in, and then you pour it out through the spout. And this was a pretty nicely done one, but unusual color palette. And it brought $1,202. The simpler blue and white ones bring $600 to $800 typically. Then once you get into colors, the prices go up. And this was a nice one. This was a particularly nice one, and did well. All right, and then the bronzes, the 18th century pricket sticks with the foo dogs. In the end, brought just about what we thought they'd bring, that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago when they went up. We thought $1,500 to $2,000. They ended up selling for $1,902, which is just about right. But these were very, very nice. These are quite elegant. They were in very nice condition. They've been kept polished, which is okay as long as they've always been polished. I know some people prefer an aged patina, but this is actually, when they produce these things, this is how the makers anticipated they'd be kept, nice and shiny and beautiful. The way the old pewter makers would ask that you polished your pewter every couple of weeks to keep it looking like silver. And here they would polish the bronzes and so forth, especially for display purposes like this. All right, and $1,902. Very nice, very, very nice. And this was that nice Dot's eye enameled tray. There it is. Now, somebody asked me, they said, is this a crack? And I said, no, that's cast into the porcelain. It's a little bit hard to see. It did have a small chip and some kiln grit under here and all that. It had a small chip on one side, but this was a very nice tray. It's probably an opium tray, I suspect. And I don't know what they called it, but a very nice little tray, beautifully decorated, nice enamel work. And I think this was a bargain, $349 or $369 plus $30 in shipping. I think that went cheap. I think that was a very, very, artistically speaking, that was a beautifully done thing. 19th century, they thought Daoguan period. I think it was probably before that. I think this was probably made around the mid-19th century, judging by the workmanship and the quality of the decoration. Very, very nice. 1840 to 1860, 1850 to 1870, somewhere in there. Very, very nice piece of porcelain. Very good decoration, high quality, very high quality decoration for the time. Quite nice. And then hopping along over to this is sort of this was that album of books that I thought was so nice. They did very, very well. This was sold for $5,212, and it's been relisted. Whoever bought it didn't pay for it, which is again, this is one of these cases. It's back up right now. It's up to about $80. It's got a few days to go. If you had interest in this before, buy it. So, don't let the fact that it didn't get paid for keep you from if you were bidding on something 1 week and then it doesn't get paid for and goes up again and you're no longer interested in it, you probably weren't that interested in it the first time. But if you were truly interested in it, take it as an opportunity to get a second shot at it. You may get it at a better price, but at least you may get it. And that's really the point of collecting. And this was a nice album. I don't think $5,000 was unreasonable for it. So go over and check it out. It'll be in the newsletter this week on the newsletter page. So do check that out. And the same thing happened with this group. And this was another seller, Bamboon, um, didn't get paid for, and it's been relisted. All right, and that's too bad. That was a nice little group of bronzes. Ming to 18th century bronzes sold for all of them, a whole lot, $1,586, which I think was very reasonable. And see what happens. They'll be on the newsletter page this week again. All right. And what is coming up this week? Okay, there's a bunch of things coming up. One of them is this. This is a Stubbsy Wubsy has this. It's a nifty little water pot, a beehive form water pot with famille rose enamels. You most often see these beehive forms in monochromes, especially reds and blues. And here it is with famille rose decoration. It's got a Tungshi mark on the bottom, I guess, under here, and but nicely done. It's a mid 19 Guangzhou mark. It's a Guangzhou mark. I guess it is. Yeah. All right, Guangzhou mark. Nice looking. Nice looking. It's up to $217. Closes on Sunday, and it should bring $450 to $550. We'll see, but it's a nice example, an unusual example because you don't see them very often with this color palette. And it's a man and a woman. I think it's very nice, very attractive. All right, and then Bamboon also has this up. This does appear to be an authentic transitional period sleeve vase, as far as I can tell. The bottom of it looks quite good. Side of the foot rim looks very good. The decoration looks nice, soft blues. The way this flowers, this is a flowering device you see on transitional pieces fairly often, seems to be done properly. That looks good. That looks good, and so forth. So it's certain to me, it certainly appears to be a legit transitional vase. He's dated it as transitional, and Bamboon has in the past been very accurate, so I don't have any reason to doubt his opinion on it. And it's about a little over 8 inches high, 8.5, 9 inches tall. It's up to $104. Closes Sunday. Should bring between $800 and $1,200. It may bring more. But it may bring a little less. So, it gets back to leave a bid, for heaven's sakes. Go in there right now and leave a bid of, $300 or $400 on this thing and get, and try to lock it up. All right. Sometimes high prices early scare people off. All right. And they just go, forget it. It's already up to almost what I'm willing to pay for it. So I'm not going to add on to it. And that's often a mistake. I've done that myself. I remember quite well seeing something that I was interested in. It got up to a certain price, and I said, well, it's already about up to what I'd leave for it. And there's no way of knowing if I had left a bid, whether the guy that wanted it before would have come back and hit it again, but might not have. At any rate, it ended up selling for less than what I would have been willing to pay for it. So lesson learned. All right. And this is a blue and white jar we put up this week. It's a very nice cobalt decorated Kangxi period jar. And this came out of an estate in Salem, Massachusetts. It belonged to actually came down through the Shreve family. I don't know if you know about the Shreves, but they were China traders. And they were on the boards of the Peabody Essex Museum. They live in Salem still, the family, and they had this in their dining room for a long time. And every time I saw the thing, I always said, "Gee, if you ever want to sell that big jar, let me know." Originally, apparently, there must have been some sort of jade hardstone or maybe a bit of coral on the top of it, but the cover is quite beautiful. It's a nice looking cover. There's the base, but the cover on it's very nicely carved. Kangxi base, Kangxi foot rim. And it's absolutely perfect condition as far as I can tell. I went over it very, very carefully. Couldn't find anything wrong with it. And it's a big jar. This is a nice big jar. We photographed it with a wine bottle next to it to give you some idea of the size of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's up to $405. It should go well beyond that. But if you've been looking for a nice sort of sacrificial blue cobalt decorated jar, this is a nice one. I would go out, and if I bought this, if I was going to keep this, I would have gone out and found a nice finial, something to add onto the top, a bit of coral or something, just to finish off the top of it. I think it would look nicer, just to balance the view, the image of it. But it's a beautiful pot, by the way. It's very heavy. And then this is up also. This is a also Bamboon has got this. He's got it listed as Song to Yuan. I think it's probably Yuan to Ming, but very nice little saucer. Not too dissimilar from the one that sold a couple of weeks ago. You may remember it had a bunch of kiln grit and grunge and cement around the bottom from the kiln. Very similar type of dish to this one. There it is. I think this is a perfectly good plate. I really do. I think this is very nice. And it's up to $109. It closes Sunday. It should bring $9 to $1,200, I think, pretty comfortably, and maybe more. But it's got good color, and it's well potted and in good condition. And it doesn't have all the kiln grit and gunk on the bottom, so it may go to 16 or 1800. So you never know, but if you've been looking to collect this kind of thing, that's a good one. That's a nice one. And then you have this Wuxing goblet, sterling silver, early 20th century, a nice looking piece. Every week there's good silver turning up on eBay. It's up to $417. It also closes on Sunday. If you're a silver buyer, go check it out. Look it up on the site. Over in the reference section to the silver catalog and read up on Wuxing. And they're dating it to 1890s. I think it was made a little after that. I think it was made probably between 1900 and 1915. But it's still a nice piece of silver. Very, very attractive piece of silver. And there's that book it's up to $89. This is that album no, wait a minute here. Is this the same? I just noticed this is being offered by Bleeding Gums. What a horrible seller name. God. Now, wait a minute. What is he saying? This item is relisted as the buyer decided that he couldn't pay for it. Okay. These are the pictures. Well, we've got a little detective thing going on here. Hold on a second. All right. Okay, that was the same seller. Okay. I thought it was Bamboon. Okay, no, it's Bleeding Gums is relisting it. Okay, never mind. It's fine. So it's a very nice album. Regardless, it's up to just $89. Closes Monday. You may get a bargain on it. Go in and drop $1,000 on it and see what happens. And then over to this another Kangxi Rouleau vase with blue ground and what's left of the gilding on it. This is a nice vase as well. This is a very nice Kangxi vase. This is the bottom of it. Looks absolutely fine. That foot looks good. It's very dirty. This is one of the things this is legitimate dirt. It's not been faked on there, and has some gilt decoration left on it, but nicely glazed. It's up to $1,193. Closes Tuesday, but good looking. Very, very nice looking. Rather classical form, and that's being offered by Rufays. And then this is an interesting bowl. It's like a cafe ground sort of Bengkrong type bowl. The seller has it up. He's thinking it's Kangxi. Certainly is 18th century. Yeah, that's Kangxi. Nice looking bowl. There it is, and it's sort of done, the Tibetan imagery, but on a cafe ground. This is very unusual. It's a very unusual type of bowl with that color, and then a white interior, and this honeycomb pattern with floral decoration interior rim to it. It does have a crack in it over here, but as a type, this is a rare bird. If you collect Kangxi porcelains, when was the last time you saw one that looked quite like this with this color palette and these decorations from that period? It's going to be there. You don't see them very often. It's only up to $149. Ends on Tuesday. Should get up to $400 to $600, I suppose. But if you collect different types of Kangxi wares or Qing wares that you don't see very often, this is one of them. And obviously meant for the South Asian market, the Indian market, with this decoration on here. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. And that's sort of it for the week. There'll be a lot of things on the newsletter page this week. We haven't redone it yet. It'll be done by the time you get over there. This is all the stuff that was on there. There's a few things at the end that haven't sold yet, but we'll put them back up until they do. There's a very nice opium tray over here. They've got it listed as a teapot tray. It's not a teapot tray. It's an opium tray. So you might want to check that out. And we have a few things on that we threw on at the end, and some nice blue and white and some good Famille Rose pieces. So check it out. And there's a whole bunch more that we found this week. One of the things I wanted to see what this brought. This was a great thing. This is a very nice carving. Some of you might know about me and my carvings. I think this is a nice one, beautifully done, good size, and There it is. All right, I like that a lot. And there's two of them, and somebody picked up both of these for just $317. It's great look, beautiful, beautiful work, all beautifully hand carved. Wood craftsmen are undervalued, I think. Anyway, that's it for the week. And by the way, if you haven't, I know most of you have seen it probably. We did a video yesterday. We did put that video up on enamels and different terminology used for different types of enamels, and Felinkai and Famille Rose and Famijun and Fenkai and Yinkai and Yankai and all that. And I hope you find that interesting and useful. It was a little bit of a process putting it together because we had a lot of editing to do, so that's why it took a bit longer. But we got it done. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Got a few projects we're working on here, and we'll put them up when they're done. And best of luck out there. But expect the auctions to start picking up. We're in August. We're already seeing a swing upward on the global pages. There's a couple of pretty good auctions that have turned up in the last week, and I think this might be an opportunity for some people because a lot of people are still away on vacation. So if you use the global pages, go in and look for auctions that end in the next two weeks in particular before the crowds come back. All right. Have a wonderful week, and thanks again. Bye-bye.